Welcome to Whiteboard Wednesday. I'm Tripp Johnson, CEO of Greenhill. Today we're going to talk about the triple bottom line approach, and more specifically, how we're discussing profits internally. So I think, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the, nuances of for-profit healthcare. A lot of us have spent a lot of time thinking about whether this is the right way to set things up, but this is the world we live in. So what I do want to highlight is the idea of conscious capitalism and effective altruism. So the idea being that business can be used as a force for good. And another piece of that is in maximizing our impact, we don't need to think, in this field, we don't need to think about making a living on one hand and then going out and doing social good on the other. We get to do both. For me, this is really appealing. I consider myself a social entrepreneur. I'm not out here just to maximize profits. I'm out here to make an impact on the world, and I don't want to spend the rest of my day, working 9 to 5 just to make money and then 5 to 9 trying to do good. I want to try and do both at the same time. So a real big component of that for us here at Greenhill is financial transparency. And that hasn't always been the case, and I'll tell you as a business owner, it's kind of scary to go out and make your financials public, even if it's just to your team. As I think we've mentioned in a previous Whiteboard Wednesday, we did publish our annual report, including our financials, to our team, and you can email us to get that if you'd like to see it. And when it comes to financial transparency, one of the things we talk about is the team compensation. It's not just about having a pay scale, but it's making sure that everyone is earning what they deserve to make. And sometimes this has to be adjusted. And one of the really good mechanisms for that is to have an open, transparent conversation about what you can do. Maybe you're looking for opportunities for growth. Maybe you have some ideas to grow the organization, and maybe that can affect your compensation. Also, I think it's really important to talk about, in the for-profit space, the idea that our growth, is based on profits and reinvesting. And that means we can have a greater impact. So without making money, we're not a sustainable organization. And another thing to talk about is, as a for-profit company, we are going to be sustainable based on what we bring in. And we're also not beholden to others. Now this can be pros and cons there. You've got to think on one hand, it's great to have a board that oversees things. But on the other hand, you don't want to have a board hijacked by outsiders that don't really share the same vision and values. Of course, you're hoping to minimize that, but it is always at risk. Another thing to talk about financial transparency is everyone here knows what I make. You can look at nonprofits and you can have CEOs making a very hefty paycheck. That's not how we run things. I believe that if we have a strong value proposition and we're helping transform our clients' lives, that we'll be compensated for it, but that's not going to come first. And finally, when we talk about profits, we talked a little bit last week about how we're interacting with local charities and nonprofits. One thing we're looking at as a group is who are we going to partner with and what kind of financial contributions are we going to make to their efforts. One of our favorite nonprofits here in Raleigh is Healing Transitions. They're a phenomenal resource for people trying to get into recovery, and they really provide for just a broad swath of the population. Another thing that we're looking at is how are we using in-kind contributions. We have a really talented team here, and sometimes the most good we can do is actually serving as advisors, mentors, helping other programs get started that may not have all of the same resources. So we're spending 5% of our time giving back. So that means we're really having a bigger impact beyond just our little microcosm, our little internal economy. So I think the key point to drive home here is the discussions around profits and healthcare. It's difficult. It's not something I really enjoy talking about, but it is essential. And it's something that your organization will probably do better the more transparency you provide. I know my team doesn't want to let me fail, and I'm grateful for that because I couldn't do it without them. So I hope you enjoyed this Whiteboard Wednesday, just a quick overview on how we handle profits internally here at Greenhill. Next week, I hope you'll tune in and we'll go do a deep dive on our values and how they inform our vision. Thanks a lot.